Hey everyone, Lance again, and welcome back to the Epics'N'Stuffs channel. So, how did last week go? Bit of an update on the store stuff for this week. So, last week was really weird. It was very strange. So, the Monday was really good. We had some strong online sales, and in store wasn't the usual Monday bust. We had a lot of people come in and part with their cash to make that the strongest Monday we've had, in the 7 or 8 weeks now we've been open. So that was good, that was positive. Then the week had a big dip, and then on Saturday was our best day so far, best Saturday as well. So of course, so overall the week was actually quite strong, but it was saved by 2 days, and a lot of the value in those days were made up by the Saturnine box. So, for all intents and purposes, when it comes to our store, again, it's a very, very small picture. The Saturnine stuff, what we've ordered in, has sold pretty much. We've got a couple of the libers left, but the actual big box stock went relatively quickly. We've still got, at time of recording, today is a Tuesday, it's released on the Saturday. We've got the better part of a week left, and it's all gone. And I haven't ordered any more yet, but I will do soon. I ploughed my money this week into the new combat patrols that are coming out soon. Or coming up for pre-order on Saturday, so that's where my money has gone. Last week I maybe, some people may say I made the mistake of making an order for all the new AOS stuff, like the Drekkies Privateers, the new Blades of Corn, Spearhead, and what's it called, Regiment of Renown. I got all that stuff as well, but the AOS stuff hasn't been doing too strong. Again, I understand it's nowhere near as popular as the likes of 40k or a big new launch box. But in the future, for the time being, as I'm still growing, I might start to not invest as much into AOS, just pick the highlights and pour that money into stuff that's a bit more consistent for the time being, like Warhammer, or I can then put it into something that's, maybe I want to experiment with, like a different game. Or pour more money into stuff that has sold quite well, like Moonstone or more accessories. I don't know, I'll see. Well, what are your thoughts on that? It's a shame because, I don't know, I obviously I'm building my AOS catalogue anyway. So even if stuff doesn't sell through pre-orders, it goes into stock, and it starts to fill the shelves, and we start to become a bit more of a destination because of the stock we have. But if stuff's not selling within, really, I mean, the ideal is you turn over an item within 90 days. But I understand that's not the case, not going to be the case with all these items, absolutely not. But if all of it is not not selling or doing something within 90 days, or there doesn't seem to be some growth, then it's like, what should we do? And that's on us as store owners then to be like, is there a competition we run? Do we do an ad campaign? that type of thing. Anyway, I digress. So last week was good, despite the dip in the middle, saved by those 2 days. That sandwich it, the Monday and the Saturday. So this week, Sunday, my day off, I didn't do anything store related. I did do a lot of tidying. My office has been an absolute crap tip since opening the store. I salvaged a lot of stuff. I brought a lot of stuff from my office, like IKEA Billy bookcases, Kallaxes, some fixtures and stuff like that, to a spare PC and monitor that I had, to the store. And my office was just a mess because it was full of cardboard boxes, moving stuff, just unorganised. So I've reorganised everything into some fashion, which will allow me to sit at home now and actually sit down and paint or do some sculpting on my main PC again, which is cool because I feel like I've been neglecting both as the store's been set in motion. So it would be nice to actually get back to doing stuff like that, which is cool. Yesterday, Monday, bit of a weird one. Warrington has been experiencing like a weird, I don't know, series of weather events recently. We've had heat wave, then a storm, then a heat wave, then a storm. Right now we're in the middle of a horrid patch of really bad rain, thunder and lightning and stuff like that, so it's one of those things, when trying to analyse analytics, you do have to take in consideration your location, obviously, and stuff like stock levels, releases, but you know, as something as mundane as the weather can really affect your income as a store owner. So because I'm in the middle of the town, I mainly get foot traffic. There's very few people, I'm sure, that park up somewhere and then walk in. Like, they do exist, I definitely know that. Those stores, in this instance, you know, ones that are maybe a bit further out or have their own parking, would be able to ride bad weather better, because people could just drive up to it, right, and then go in. You know, it's the foot flow, that's that type of traffic, the regular footfall, people on foot. When weather is bad, they just don't turn up, right, because it's absolutely, you know, peeing it down outside, or it's baking red hot in the sun. You know, they're less likely to, you know, take a journey 5-10 minutes and walk to your store. So yesterday, weather was terrible, and I thought, you know, we're not going to get anyone all day type of thing, because it was literally dead. But, you know, luckily the afternoon, people came in, and you know, it was saved, if that makes sense. So as far as Mondays go, it wasn't amazing, but, you know, it wasn't the worst either. And the thing is because we're a small store, a day's success can almost be like, it can almost ride or fulcrum on a single or a couple of transactions, because if somebody comes in and spends a couple of £100, obviously that's a lot of money to be paying, right? That can make or break a day. Now you got to think, like, you know, when people are just spending £100, or, you know, let's say you have a day where you only make that £200, that's not really a good day by all intents and purposes, when your profit at the end of it is done. I'm sure, you know, this happens to everybody when they're starting. They're not making like thousands upon thousands in their first day, right? So there'll be some days where, you know, you might only make, you know, 50 to £100 or £200 or something like that, that once all the costs and everything are bought out of it, you would not be able to you know, live off that type of thing. Luckily, thank God and touch wood, I've got my commissions and other stuff, the you know, the people on Patreon and all that jazz, that helps add all that up. So as long as the store looks after itself, that's all good. Anyway, I digress. So let's hope that this week is a bit more consistent than last week. You know, there's been days I've felt so far where I've been like, oh God, is this it? Is it over now? And then literally the next day it's been like, whoa, Jesus, you know, that's the best day we've ever had type of thing. So I have noticed that the traffic on the website has fell off a little bit. You know, that can be partly down to releases and stuff like that, right? There's certain items that absolutely bring people to the website, and once they're sold out, or, you know, stock of that dries up, then less people will come for that particular item, and sometimes they you know, they hoover up other stuff as well with it. So we'll see how that goes. And there's a few things I've got in my head that I want to try and do next. There's just a couple of bits in the store that I'm trying to rectify or inject something into first. Some good news is also that I can now order stuff from the Warhammer website direct. You know, if at a pinch somebody wants something from the online only catalogue, I can get that. Now, there's some caveats. There's certain things where, like expert kits and web, you know, is it Warhammer Plus exclusives, just can't do that, unfortunately. But some online only stuff, I placed an order for a chunk of online only stuff to bring it to the store so that I could show people that, you know, stuff like that is available to order. You know, Hellbrutes, what is it, I can't remember, is it Exavor or something like that, you know, big Tyrannid, Dark Angels, Chaplain and Solitaire, you know, all these things that are online exclusive. And it's just been lost in the post. It went off into some random direction, and then, yeah, they said it has been misrouted, and I've had no updates since, and it's been a week. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that ends up turning up at some point. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get on the blower to Royal Mail Warhammer and say, where's my stock? But we'll see how that goes. I've since placed other orders. They'll probably make it here before that, which will be interesting. But yeah, no, it's a cool development, at least, like at a pinch. If somebody wants something specific or something that's a bit more obscure, I can almost use that as like an additional warehouse, if that makes sense. Plus, I can take payment up front for that type of stuff. Originally, you know, it's tough at the moment when starting up to know what's going to be in stock at places if they don't, you know, give you visibility of their stock levels. So taking payment for something and then trying to place an order just to find out it's not in stock and won't be anytime soon, to then refund, sounds really bad customer experience to me. So I've tried to circumvent that by going, I don't need your money, I will purchase something, and then when it comes in, the hope is there's an agreement there where you come in and purchase it, but technically there isn't an agreement there. So I could end up being lumped with some stock that I don't necessarily want or didn't want. I could have spent elsewhere. So there will come a time for certain items, I'm sure, where it's like, I need money up front to actually pay for this, because it's not something I was going to invest in anytime soon. But it's one of those, it's a hard balance to strike. You know, if somebody came in and said, yeah, I want 5 boxes of intercessors, I'd be like, okay, no worries, I'll just get them, knowing that when they go on the shelf, if they didn't come in and purchase, that those intercessors would actually shift. But, you know, if somebody comes in and says, like, you know, this is really obscure game that barely anybody plays, or this is really obscure model that only, like, you know, one person has fielded on a tournament in the last 5 years, or something like that, it's a bit different then, right? Because as soon as I buy that, if you don't come back, or if the person doesn't come back and purchase it, then I could literally just be sat there for a long time. Now, there's stuff I can do. Obviously, I can put it on eBay, or I can take it to war boots or events and put it pride of place to try and shift it. But again, it's not, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a good experience in general to be doing that type of thing. So I'll probably have to pick and choose which things I do and don't charge for, but then try and make it a bit more consistent in future. It's a hard balance, yeah, and it's hard to know that, considering like I'm still fairly fresh to Warhammer in general. But yeah, we'll see, because there's a lot of games out there I would love to get into and stock, but you know, money at the moment is just like, it's all on the big games, but there's loads of small games that I would probably like to get in at some point. And maybe the way of doing that is charging people up front to actually get them in the first place. We'll see. But yeah, I think I'm trying to think what else has happened in the store. I've done a couple more move rounds, you know, feedback from people coming in over the last week with regards to the store's current layout has been relatively positive. It's a bit tight in corners, so like, you know, people with walkers, a person with a wheelchair, you know, it can get a bit awkward. That's just, you know, unfortunately par for the course in this instance. I've moved some stuff around to try and I can move some stuff around. It's easy to shift, like those types of FSDUs, if people do need access, and I'm happy to do that. But, you know, until I get a bigger store and I'm growing stock, it's just going to be something I have to negotiate. The good thing as well is, you know, it's a bit of a sporadic video, right? I'm just ploughing it all on, but I thought, like, you know, let's just whack all the updates in one go. Starting to do some more painting, which is cool, and continue work on some new commissions that I've got, which are FireQuest related. So the catalogue of FireQuest models that I've already done is being added to, thanks to a generous commissioner, a generous customer who is who's commissioning those. I am working on a Kickstarter at the moment, and my Patreon release this month is a little bit late. I am working on it as well. There's a couple of models that I need to finish, and a couple of models I've got base models for that I need to sculpt into to finish off. There's a small terrain set and a few characters, which will be going up for free by the end of the month, but hopefully within the next 3 or 4 days from recording this, which I think will probably be the end of the month by the time this goes live, to be honest. But those people who are Patreon this month will get something. I will let you know when it comes out. But yeah, I've also had time to do some painting, some messing with the airbrush. I assembled a Death Guard kill team, and the hope is me and Matt can play a game of Kill Team at some point. I've base coated it all up. I'll show it in a video once it's a bit more like involved. Base coated it all up. I used some, use the airbrush. I used some pro acrylic paints as opposed to the GW stuff. I got as best a match as I could, and I'm literally going through the process of trimming it all, which is obviously really fun. So I'm doing that. I'm trying a new brush, a Kolinsky sable brush by a company called Handover. I've got in touch with them. I've really enjoyed using this one brush that Matt gave me to try out. Really enjoyed using it. It's like, yeah, super good. So the hope is that I can get a trade account with them, and then hopefully start stocking some of their brushes in store, because yeah, really enjoyed using that one. So yeah, it's been nice to sit down and actually do some painting, and it was one of the instigators for me, tidying my office this weekend, so I can actually do more painting at home, because I invested in a really nice compressor and a Harder and Steinbach CR, is it 2024 Plus, the fine needle one, airbrush for home, so I can try working with that. And I've got loads of models that are in progress. I've been base coated, now just need painting into. So yeah, the good thing is now I'm starting to get into like a rhythm and a routine, and I'm starting to divvy up my time a little bit more efficiently, so that I can be like, I'm sitting down and doing this today, I'm sitting down and doing painting today, I'm sitting down and doing admin today, that type of thing. So that is good. Anyway, visit the website www.epics'n'stuffs.com. The stock that we're having is representative of what's on there, so you can also click, if you're local, purchase online and then collect in store whilst we're open, which is a cool feature. And obviously, yeah, you can also buy stuff and we'll send it out. There is free shipping over £75 in the UK, so if you spend over 75 quid, free shipping. And you always get a free miniature from ourselves, which seems to be going down a treat, so I'll keep doing that for the time being. But yeah, check out the website, Patreon as well. There'll be a new release set shortly. My Mini Factory, that's where we sell all our STLs. And yeah, keep an eye out in the future for a Kickstarter of ours. I might be doing like a Kickstarter reprint run, because a lot of people have been asking me for the bundles of characters from the FireQuest series. So some people might be happy to know that I might be doing a Kickstarter. It depends whether or not Kickstarter will allow it, which will be FireQuest 1 and 2 again, but it will be a reprint run of the specific bundles that were available for them. And I'm hoping to maybe do like an option where you can pick which models you want from the first or second set as well. I just need to look into how to make that as neat or as capturable as possible. But then also add the minis that have been made since, which were extra, so that there's more value in there, and then maybe a couple of stretch goals on top, which we'll see. I'm doing some new miniatures, these new FireQuest miniatures at the moment, and some new terrain stuff which is FireQuest related, which might end up warranting a new campaign at some point as well for more of that, but I'm unsure yet. So yeah, just keep an eye out on Kickstarter or my various socials for that. Anyway, I'll leave it there. That was a very big one take, but it'll do the job. Stay tuned for another video soon. Take care, have fun, and speak soon.